I'm doing this a little differently today. I'm trying something different. Over the last few weeks, I've really done some studying. I got this course, and it has great speeches from Martin Luther King, from Mark Anthony, from Mahatma Gandhi, from Susan B. Anthony, and they go through all these speeches and they tell you how to write great speeches. And I think this is the most important speech that I've ever given, and I'm trying to do it right. I really hope that lots of you, if you're asked to do Keynote, that this is well worth the purchase and the time. I just keep looking at each lesson over and over. These people they did fantastic things with their speeches. And some of them made real mistakes. We talk about those. Some had digressions and all those kinds of things. So I'm trying something different. The other thing is that this is an absolutely incredible celebration. So first thing that always comes up when I realize that I've got to give a presentation, especially this one, first thing I think of is, what am I going to wear? So I went to this store. I think Jane told me about this store, back there, and she told me about this store, and it's called Miranda's Veranda, and it's over in Keene, New Hampshire. And I didn't realize it, but when I got to Miranda's Veranda, it says specializes in celebrations. So I went to Miranda's Veranda, and that's where I got this jacket. And this is my celebration jacket. So what are we celebrating here? This is an incredible thing. We are celebrating that there are people gathered here from all over the world. We have people from Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, Scotland, Ireland, England, Canada, Japan, the Netherlands, and from over 40 of the United States. Wow. We are celebrating that rap has truly spread around the globe, and it continues to be spread each and every day. It continues to spread even as each of us are gathered here for enrichment and renewal. It's spreading, it's moving, it's moving. Let's do this. And we are celebrating here very loudly that we have done what we have been told over and over could never be done. They said that no one could ever recover from what they call mental illness. But we have shown them, all of us, that this is not true. We have shown them that we can and do recover. We have shown them that we can go on and do the things we want to do with our lives, and we can be the kind of people we want to be. Dr. Gail Hornstein is a well-known mental health advocate. She's working in the United States now to bring to the United States the Hearing Voices Network, which has spread all across Europe. And I want to read a quote from Gail. Gail says, "We must remember that no matter how serious someone's emotional difficulties have been, they can completely recover. It's crucial for them and their friends and family to know that. No expert knows enough about mental illness to say that you can't improve. You might not know how to get better at this moment, but you have to start by knowing it's possible." We have not only recovered ourselves, but each of us has reached out to others, bringing them along to create a tremendous groundswell, a triumphant movement of wellness and recovery for all. All of us working together, we have done it. I could not have done this without all of you. It wouldn't have happened. I was at a conference in Santa Fe, New Mexico a number of years ago, and there was an official there from the Federal Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, from SAMHSA, took me aside and he said, "You know, what's going on? We haven't given you any money. We haven't helped you in any way at all. And yet rap is everywhere. It's spreading like wildfire." I couldn't give him an answer. All I knew was that every day, like you, I worked from dawn until dusk, spreading the word about mental health recovery. and rap. Often like you, I'm on the road, I'm driving, I'm riding on a train, I'm flying to do what I can do to make rap accessible to more and more people. I may slow down, getting old, but I won't stop. And I know you won't either. In whatever way we can, we will join with the thousands and probably millions who are part of it. This is from my grandson, part of this ginormous effort. That's from Scott, 6-year-old. I think a lot of you have met Ed, my partner, my spouse, my love. And in his life, Ed has been involved in lots of social justice movements. When he was back in the 70s, he walked across the country for peace and justice. And he says that this human rights movement, the one that we are all in, has had greater impact than any of the other great movements that he's been involved in. This rap and recovery movement is a movement of the people, by the people, and for the people. It affects all people, all sexes and races, all cultures, all ethnic backgrounds and sexual identities, all ages and disabilities, rich and poor, people with lots of advantages, and people with no advantages. And so I want to read you something from the United Nations World Health Organization policy analysis paper, which you can easily see on the internet. It says there is growing recognition within the international community that mental health is one of the most neglected yet essential development issues in achieving the Millennial Development Goals, and you can find those on the internet. It says mental health represents a critical indicator of human development, serves as a key determinant of well-being, quality of life, and hope, has an impact on a range of development outcomes, and is a basis for social stability. And we are that important. We are already accomplishing what they say they're going to do, what the United Nations and the WHO policy and all of that says they're going to do. We've already gotten to. We are already doing it. Paulo Del Vecchio, who's the Associate Director of SAMHSA's Center for Mental Health Services, said in his speech about my work at the 2009 Voice Awards presentation, we define mental health recovery as a journey of healing and transformation, a journey from the darkness to the light, a journey to take control of our problems, to take control of our lives, a journey for freedom, freedom both from mental health problems and freedom from the social exclusion that we all experience. Paulo likened this work to that of Harriet Tubman, and I really like that he brought Harriet Tubman, who's somebody that I admire greatly, into this. Harriet Tubman, who like many of us, has traveled that journey and then went back to help lead countless others to do the same. And like Harriet Tubman, who had many other allies on the Underground Railroad, we have trained hundreds of thousands of others, who in turn trained thousands of others to spread rap and our message of recovery for all across the nation and the world, effectively putting into practice the philosophy of each one, teach one. As the conference committee was beginning to plan its work, Matthew contacted me and he said they wanted to give out an award and they wanted me to present it. And my immediate response was, no way, this is not possible. It would never be possible to figure out who deserves this award. Would it be Janet, who just smiled for the first time in 3 years? Would it be Paul, who stepped outside his home for the first time in 10 years? Would it be Bonnie, who has figured out that she can stop the incredible, searing, burning pain and desire to die that she often feels by getting in the shower with her clothes on? Would it be Mark, who has diabetes and has lost 150 pounds? Would it be Carrie, who just got the courage to attend her first rap meeting? Would it be Sally, who has spent hours and hours listening to a friend who was the victim of violence? Would it be Jane, who traveled with me to northern Vermont where rap was developed, who suggested we needed a planning process to address people's needs for a way to organize their wellness strategies in their lives? She's right back there. who helped with the rap research and spreads enthusiasm about rap and recovery wherever she goes? Would it be Walter, who's working to integrate rap into the Veterans Administration system? Would it be Judith, who secured the money and implemented the research that proved the evidence base? Would it be Matthew and Katie and Elaine and the other Copeland Center staff people who have at least quadrupled the outreach of the Copeland Center in the last year and a half? Would it be BJ, who set up a business to use her talents to spread rap far and wide? Would it be Bill, who developed the popular Coping with Depression video 20 years ago and came back to Vermont this year to update it so it would be available for the conference? Liam, who discovered rap from his own therapist, used the book to start rap in his own life, and who now has joined forces with the Copeland Center to expand the network of rap facilitators and workshops across Ireland. Would it be Rona, who is now an advanced level facilitator and is working to change the system in Scotland, Europe, and even Ontario? Would it be Wen Ling, who's here from New Zealand, who has expanded access to rap and peer support to the Asian people of New Zealand, brought rap to people who are struggling with gambling addictions, and has a vision of bringing rap to our home country of China? Would it be Danielle, who has worked tirelessly to translate the Red Rap book into French, ensuring that the translation embodies the rap values and ethics? Would it be Mike, who's a prison inmate in Oklahoma, who transcribed all of the rap and mental health recovery facilitator manual into Braille, including all of the... I welcome you to look at it. We got this big box, and they're figuring out now how we can replicate this. But there's Mike in prison, and he's doing it's marvelous. The other person I think of when I think of this list, I think of my mother. I think of Kate, and I think. She got that first peer support group going. She got that first peer support going at Connecticut Valley Hospital when she realized how important it was and for people to be talking to each other. And so she started gathering together groups of patients when she was a patient herself. And you know what they did? They discharged her. So this list that I just read you could go on and on. And it could include each and every one of you. So, each and every one of you, remarkable achievements, and each of you deserves an award. And this is your celebration. So, give yourself. I'm going to take you to the future and what I see as our ongoing work. But I want first to take a look at the road we've traveled together. I don't want us ever to forget that. I think it's really important. About 15 years ago, a small group of dedicated individuals came from all corners of Vermont. Not people with advanced degrees to teach us what we should do, but people who were, even at that time, experiencing the worst of mental health challenges. People who were hearing voices. People who were so anxious it was hard to sit still for even a few minutes. People who were experiencing paranoia and delusions. People who had spent months and years in psychiatric hospitals. People who intimately knew the depths of despair. People who had been told they would never get well, that they would probably get worse as they aged. These people came together in northern Vermont in the brutal winter of 1997 to learn various skills and strategies that they hoped might help them to recover and move on with their lives. Recover is a word not commonly used in those days for people with mental health issues. People were not yet talking about recovery very much at all. At the end of 8 intensive days of presentation, discussion, and activity, one brave woman, Jessie Parker, stood up and said, "This is all well and good, but I've been in psychiatric hospitals all across the country, and I wouldn't have any idea to organize what I have learned here in my life. So this group, in the cold of winter, came back to Bradford, Vermont, many of them over slippery country roads, even when it was storming, to spend several extra days together to address this issue. On the first of these days, I was riding with Jane Winterlin, right back there. I think she was driving her old Volvo.
Oh, yes.
She was driving her old Volvo.
65 Volvo.
65 Volvo. We had about a 1.5-hour trip on one of the 2 major highways in Vermont. There were 2 other participants who were traveling with us. And on this particular day, the highway was almost deserted. A cold wind was blowing and icy snowflakes were falling from the sky. Jane was talking about the need for a step-by-step process to address this issue that Jesse had brought up. Various parts for things like triggers and early warning signs. About that time, a big, empty flatbed trailer truck went barreling by us. Remember this, Jane? Went barreling by us, and its trailer, caught by the wind and the ice, swung around so close to the front of the car that we all gasped in horror. Rap almost ended right there. But we made it. The group quickly picked up on Jane's suggestion and worked hard, checking out various options and having lengthy discussions, you know how that goes, to develop what has now become known across the world as the Wellness Recovery Action Plan, or WRAP. I was so intrigued with what they developed that I decided that I would develop one of these plans for myself and use it in my own life. Spent an afternoon while Ed was out sugaring, making maple syrup. Spent an afternoon working on developing my wellness toolbox and the first 4 parts of the plan. My crisis plan came later. Right away, I began using this plan as my daily guide to living, and I noticed an amazing exponential leap in my own wellness and recovery. Issues and circumstances that used to be big problems for me, I could now handle with ease. So, I was so amazed at the incredible change that I saw that I decided to take a risk and share it with a larger audience at the International Conference of the Depressive and Manic Depressive Association. That's what it was called in those days. So it was with some trepidation that I shared the plan at the workshop I was leading. The attendees had just come from workshops featuring brain section slides and chemical formulas. I was afraid I would be laughed out of the place. But in fact, the opposite was true. The attendees were overwhelmingly enthusiastic. Finally, they said, something we can do to help ourselves. That was the beginning. Since that time, WRAP has spread around the country and around the world. Sometimes it has been more like the little engine that could. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And other times it has spread with the speed and precision of that bullet train that Ed and I rode in Japan with Iri Kuno from Tokyo to Sendai and from Nagoya to Kyoto. There have been local trains that spread the word from person to person and town to town. There have been trains that bumped along over rough territory, but always the movement has been forward. Although I continue to do everything I can to keep the train moving and make it easy for people to hop on, setting up the Copeland Center so people can easily access the best there is, developing program models, curriculums, and resources, training people to lead WRAP groups, and training people to train people to lead WRAP groups. The train is now moving at lightning speed as it travels from Hong Kong to Kermay, to Auckland and Wanganui and Christchurch, to England and Scotland and Ireland, from Honolulu to San Francisco, from Anchorage to Fort Worth and Palm Beach, Nashville, Asheville, Charlotte, Poughkeepsie, New Bedford. The list goes on and on and on. Back in 2004, 2 British psychiatrists, Glenn Roberts and Paul Wolfson, wrote an article for the journal Advances in Psychiatric Treatment called Rediscovered Recovery, Open to All. They said, in the burgeoning field, is that how you pronounce it, burgeoning field of mental illness self-management models, WRAP is probably the most widely disseminated program of its type in the United States. That was in 2004. Now in 2011, we can easily say WRAP is the most widely disseminated program of its type in the world. talk about evidence-based practices. Agencies and organizations were saying that they would only promote, that they would only share, that they would only pay for mental health programs and initiatives that were evidence-based. Then there were other people who were saying that if RAP was evidence-based, meaning that there were recognized research projects that proved RAP's effectiveness, RAP would be co-opted by the healthcare providers and large managed care companies. So there was this issue going on. But most people agreed with me that we wanted RAP to be available wherever people were going to get help with mental health challenges, and that we needed to develop that evidence base for RAP to be listed in the National Registry of Evidence-Based Programs and Practices. So we started applying for research grants, but we were always turned down because instead of being from a major university or institution, we were people with a lived experience. We didn't have the credibility to prove that RAP works. Finally, a major researcher, Judith Cook. Judith, you here somewhere? Judith Cook at the University of Illinois at Chicago was able to get funded to do an intensive study of RAP. Working closely with me and with Copeland Center trained facilitators, she studied RAP across the state of Ohio, and she's now replicating the study in Illinois. We got the results we wanted, we proved that RAP works, and now we are listed in the National Registry of Evidence-Based Practices. When my friend, a lot of you probably know Mo Armstrong, when Mo heard the news, we're always on email back and forth, when Mo heard the news about our evidence-based practice listing, he wrote, "Maybe now those folks," meaning federal officials, "will stop spending endless money trying to research and build programs which are not as good as RAP. Maybe they will put money forward to turn the research into practice using RAP." Just some thoughts on a sunny afternoon. Thanks, Mo. So now, with work of the Copeland Center, Judith's research, and the evidence-based listing, RAP can go on and on and on as it should, being a vehicle to wellness for more and more people over time. Ed and I were in Japan doing a RAP workshop for a small group of people who had been immersed in the mental health system for many years. One of the participants said, "I wish someone had told me 40 years ago there were things I could do to help myself." What keeps this train going? It's you, it's all of you. You keep it going, you will keep it going into the future. You keep it going as you tell one person and then another about RAP. You keep it going as you attend and as you lead RAP groups. You keep it going as you integrate RAP into mental health organizations and agencies. You keep it going as you take RAP into hospitals, into jails and prisons, into veterans facilities, and onto the streets. You keep it going as you work with officials to integrate RAP into your state, region, province, prefecture, county, and country. You keep it going as you work to make RAP available wherever it is needed around the world. And because of you, more and more people know the joy and wonder of recovery and wellness. So before I go on to describe what I see as our work of the future, I want to thank you, every one of you, whatever role you have played, for in behalf of all those people who have benefited from your dedication and your service. So thank you. We're all deeply committed to this work, and we will continue to do it as long as there are people who will benefit. RAP is now a given. It has taken on a life of its own. But there's more work to be done. As Harriet Tubman said, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. And we are all going to need the strength, passion, and patience to accomplish what I feel we must accomplish in the next 15 years. It's 15 years since RAP was discovered. We're at 15 years now. In the next 15 years, we have a lot of work to do. As you know, as RAP evolved, a set of clear values and ethics grew up around it. As these values and ethics began to emerge, we all shared them with lots and lots of people. Some people added to the list, some people asked that particular points be amended in a way that made sense. Over time, more and more people seemed satisfied with that list. And they were convinced that these values and ethics were absolutely essential if people were going to get the optimum benefit from RAP. Now I am deeply concerned about the future of these values and ethics, and about other issues related to mental health. You all know about the pendulum effect. At one side of the swing of the pendulum, people are using the values and ethics, and the train is moving forward nicely. The other end of the pendulum, the values and ethics are ignored and violated, and the train is stopped. Even now we hear of this happening. All of us, using our collective energy, the same energy that we have used and continue to use to spread RAP, can, will, and must keep the values and ethics strong and vital, keep the pendulum from swinging back to that time when recovery was not a word that was connected with mental health issues. And so I'm going to go through those with you. We will work, as we have worked to spread RAP, to make sure that every person who reaches out for help with mental health challenges, whoever they might reach out to, is assured that there is hope, that lots and lots of people get well, stay well for long periods of time, and do the things they want to with their lives. We will work, as we have worked to spread RAP, to make sure that every person who reaches out for help with mental health challenges is assisted and supported as they determine their own path, take personal responsibility for their own recovery, as they become empowered and as they learn to advocate for themselves. They will be given the opportunity to discover their personal wellness tools and develop their own wellness recovery action plan. We will work, as we have worked to spread RAP, to make sure that every person who reaches out for assistance with mental health issues, whether they are in the United States or in Japan or in Ghana or in Hong Kong or in Timbuktu, will be treated with dignity, compassion, mutual respect, and unconditional high regard. As a unique and special human being who is fully accepted without prejudice due to diversity, ethnicity, language, religion, race, gender, age, disability, sexual identity, or readiness issues, and that they will treat others the same way that they expect to and deserve to be treated. We will work, as we have worked to spread RAP, to make sure that every person understands that there are no limits to recovery. We will work, as we have worked to spread RAP, to make sure that all mental health treatment and participation in all mental health programs, including the use of RAP, is totally voluntary. We will work, as we have worked to spread RAP, to make sure that everyone understands that the person who is reaching out for help, who is developing their RAP, is the primary expert on him or herself. We will work, as we have worked to spread RAP, to make sure that in all of mental health care and treatment, the focus will be on strengths and away from perceived deficits. The focus will be on things you do well, and negative judgments and deficit-based assessments are avoided. We will work, as we have worked to spread RAP, to make sure that clinical, medical, and diagnostic language has been discarded and is considered obsolete. We will work, as we have worked to spread RAP, to make sure that people with lived experience work together and learn together to increase mutual understanding, knowledge, and promote wellness, that peer support is the rule rather than the exception. We will work, as we have worked to spread RAP, to make sure that only personal wellness tools and other strategies that are simple and safe are used for treatment. And I want to go on with that. These simple, safe things are really important. And I want to tell you a story that Ron Coleman, who does a lot of recovery work all over the world, told. He uses comedy a lot, and he told this story, and I asked Ron if it was okay if I shared it, and he said absolutely. He tells, and some of you may have heard me tell it before, but it bears repeating, that there was a man in Birmingham, in England, who had trouble going out in public because when he did, his intrusive and horrific voices would start yelling at him, and they were so awful that he would yell back. And when he yelled back at his voices, somebody would see him and they would report him, and he would be taken off to the mental health facility, and he'd spend a few days there. And he didn't like that very well. And so they came up with a system, and it involved a cell phone. So he goes out, and he's going out into the community, and he starts hearing those voices. He puts the cell phone up to his ear, and he starts yelling. Nobody did anything. It worked like a charm. So this fella, he says, you know, for years I've been wanting to go into London. I haven't been able to go into London, and I really want to go into London. And so he said, I'm going to take my cell phone and get on the train. So he takes his cell phone, he gets on the train, he's yelling into his cell phone, and everybody else on the train is yelling into their cell phone. So he gets outside of London, and the train goes in the tunnel, and everybody's cell phone cuts out. He's yelling into the cell phone, and he gets off the train, and somebody comes over to him and says, what kind of cell phone service do you have? It's amazing what people can come up with. We have to be looking at things that way. What can we use to get by? What can we use to get our lives? We will work as we have worked to spread RAP to make sure that difficult feelings and behaviors are understood as normal responses to traumatic circumstances and to difficult things that are happening in our lives, and that all treatment is trauma-informed. We have come so far in this regard in the last 20 years. 20 years ago, all mental health problems were considered brain disorders. Now it is clearly understood that in many, many cases, mental health issues are a response to traumatic life experiences, like abuse, poverty, neglect, war, disability, and disaster. We will work as we have worked to spread RAP to make sure that restraints, seclusion, the use of body bags, tasers, and other traumatic procedures have been eliminated. Congratulations to Pennsylvania, Delaware, and others for the groundbreaking work that they have done in this area. And congratulations to the Board of Directors of the Copeland Center for developing a white paper to address this issue and for beginning a new training initiative around this issue. We will work as we have worked to spread RAP to make sure that families like mine and yours will never again know the horror of losing a family member to long-term illness, institutionalization, or suicide. We will work as we have worked to spread RAP to make sure that people can reach out for help when times are difficult, that they will be offered simple, safe solutions like wellness tools and RAP, and that the stigma that accompanies reaching out for help in the hardest of times will be eliminated. We will open doors that used to be closed. We will work as we have worked to spread RAP to make sure that people in crisis have a place to go and be supported for as long as they need that support. A place where there is food if they want it, where they can be alone or with others, where they can be inside or outside, where there are things to do if they want to do something, whatever it is they need to do. We will work as we have worked to spread RAP to make sure that treatment meets the needs of individuals and not the pharmaceutical industry. We will work as we have worked to spread RAP so we may see the day when every person has a comfortable living space, food, and easy access to health care. This is big. Like me, you may wonder where you will get the strength, stamina, persistence, and skills to accomplish an even greater task than you've already done. In order to do this, we have to keep ourselves really pumped up, well-educated, and up-to-date. How can we do this? I want to share with you some ideas. We can do this by taking great care of ourselves using RAP and being a model of wellness for others. I want to tell you that the other morning, I got up at 6:30 and I said, here I am, and I'm sure there's lots of my friends here in the building. I'd love to see him. Where would I find him? Where would I find him? So I went to the exercise room. And I was lonely. We can share our story with others. We can listen to another person tell their story. We can listen and listen and listen. We can encourage someone as they uncover their wellness tools. We can support someone as they work on their RAP. We can set up a RAP group or work with someone to facilitate a RAP group. We can go to a Copeland Center training or a lecture or a seminar or a webinar. We can take online courses. We can do internet research. We can use the internet as an educational and outreach tool. We can write educational articles for the newspaper and various newsletters. We can set up websites and contribute to existing websites. We can go to conferences, rallies, and demonstrations. We can join and contribute to online and Facebook groups. We can offer RAP to people with special needs like veterans in jails and prisons and institutions, and to people who are homeless. We can reach out for technical assistance to the Copeland Center, to Rapid Recovery Books, or to one of the mental health recovery technical assistance centers around the country, like the mental health clearinghouse that's here in Philadelphia. We can reach out to people everywhere who need and want to know about mental health recovery and RAP. We can give keynote addresses. And like I said before, if you're asked to give a keynote, really, I'm not making any money on these people. But this is a great course. And I think you all should take it before you give a keynote. And then you'll be able to do something that's really powerful and effective.
What's the title?
It's The Art of Public Speaking, Lessons from the Greatest Speeches in History.
Great courses.
Pardon? Great courses, yeah. Great courses. Go online, it's called The Teaching Company, and you can get them in DVDs or I don't know if this one comes in CDs or not, but I like watching and there were some pictures, and watching the man that teaches it present was instructive as well. It's only 12 lessons, there's no test. So you can give a keynote that will make a huge difference. Look at what Martin Luther King did. The list of things you do could go on and on. But you did it. You did it with RAP. You've kept the train rolling. I ask you now to undertake with me what will definitely be a much, much bigger task. Taking the RAP values and ethics the ethics that need to take us into the future to every corner of the world. To Bosnia, to Ghana, to the Congo, to Uzbekistan, to Jerusalem, to Iraq, to Siberia, to Afghanistan, to Bolivia, to Mississippi, to Nevada, to Utah. Look at how much we've gotten done in the last 15 years. I am looking forward to another great celebration, 15 years hence, where we can say with certainty that the pendulum has swung so far that it can never swing back again. I look forward to seeing every one of you there.